Hello! Welcome to Harris Football. I'm here with Christopher Harris, the namesake of the channel. How's it going, Chris?
It's going. Thank you. Producer Dave Hewitt. Hi, how are you?
Good. I'm extra excited because we're here to speak about must draft running backs because some unnamed producer said, Chris, you got to give me a must draft running back list.
Right, because what's must draft really mean? I mean, I'm offer all sorts of caveats as we go through a list of 4 players here. I'll draft anybody at the right price, right? I think if you're going into any draft saying I have to have this guy, you're doing yourself a disservice because it depends on what they cost. Even players who I call bust, even players I'm not sure I like, there's a point where I'm going to take them because they last too long. And similarly, dudes who I'm like, oh, I love that guy. Wait, he's going to what round? You know, I'm probably maybe not going to pull the trigger. There are guys I like even more.
Yeah, that's always the worst feeling for me when there's a guy you really like and then it's go, wait, they're going what round? Oh, now I'm negative about a player you like. So we're not going to have to be negative about some players you like today. Or at least you don't have to be. Maybe I am.
Well, speaking of rounds, I mean, we should just say we're recording this. What is it? It's the week of the
16th.
I forget. 16th. I had to look at my computer real quick. I am now dipping a toe in the water of ADP. For you, Dave Hewitt, I've started looking on the podcast this week. We're going to be talking about average draft position. We're going to start talking about value, all those things. So I have some sense of that for the players we're going to talk about here, whether they're, maybe kind of good value.
Yeah, and the first guy we're going to talk about, I think you had a sense of anyway where the ADP might be because it's Josh Jacobs, and you're on record for loving him, and I think you've known well before looking at ADP that you were kind of out of step with the market, but you still like him. So when would you consider taking him? Why are we so excited about him? Let's explain it.
Right. So let's start talking about Josh Jacobs by talking about why people aren't he's the RB8 last year, Dave. So I think it's weird, there has to be extenuating circumstances that the RB8 would not be considered anything close to a top 12 running back by the market. Agreed, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Which usually means situation.
Yeah. So something happened, right? And the thing that happened was Kenyon Drake. And I think you, maybe among all the people in the world, know my tortured relationship with Kenyon Drake. He's a flag player a few years ago. I rated him as someone like a swing type player last year. He's been a film room hero I don't think he's ever been a film room hero, but he's been a person of interest for a long time. I had him as RB15 last season or something. He outperformed that. So people look at the the season long numbers for Kenyon Drake and they go, he's a really good season and he's going to the Raiders. That's doom for Josh Jacobs. Do you have that feeling at all?
Do I personally? No, but I do think you're right about the sense of the market.
And people forget that Kenyon Drake's season was actually pretty terrible, and that as talented as we've all thought he's been over the years, he's just never really applied it consistently. And in the end, I've kind of just fallen out of love, and he doesn't scare me. He's going to play, but you know what? All running backs now have tandems. There's 3 that don't. If I gave you an over-under of the number of third downs Josh Jacobs played last year, I would love for people watching the video to pause and post in the comments before you hear me say it. How many third downs do you think Josh Jacobs played last year? I know it's a weird, you don't know but this is 16 games. This is a long season, right? Dave, I'm going to make you guess. The people watching don't have to put it in the comments, but if they're honest, they will. I would have thought Josh Jacobs' third down snaps would have been, but you have to do it as we talk here.
I'm doing it live. You're surprising me. I'm going to say 70. That's 4 per game. I don't know.
60. Played 60 third downs all year. So this notion that this is some massive sea change, that Josh Jacobs is going to have his fantasy value crushed because he's only going to play 3 third downs per game or something. He just did that.
Right.
He just did it. So he was touchdown dependent, but he was a 1,000-yard rusher and he scored 12 touchdowns. And I think that's a feature, not a bug. He is not the straight ahead fastest guy, but great agility and we know great power. I still really like him. And you asked the question. Sorry, I avoided the question because I'm like that. Where would I take him? I know I don't have to take him where I am ranked.
Right.
I think I could probably get him late 3rd round, early 4th round and feel like I was getting a 2nd round pick.
And if you can do that based on your ranks, that might be the only exciting RB2 out there because RB2 is so scary where it's like, oh, I can get this guy later. Right. I personally always, that little dance is delicate. You want to use that to your advantage of knowing we're out of step with the market. I can wait on this guy, but it's also, you don't want to let him slip by. You got to be careful on the turns.
Yeah, that's right.
So the next guy on the list, we're talking about Travis Etienne. We talked about him on the running back show, which I'll link right here. It'll pop out. We talked about him, and you had him higher than James Robinson. Now that you've dipped your toe into ADP, are you horrified to see that you're out of step with everyone?
I'm horrified. So I just think you ride the wave with Steve, as I like to call him, with Travis Etienne. I think you ride the wave of negative news. Like, believe me when I tell you, coming out of this weekend, when all anybody knows is that in the preseason game, Carlos Hyde played ahead of Carlos Etienne, I think his ADP is going to go lower. You're going to get all the people who react to this stuff. This is Urban Meyer messing around. There's no world in which Travis Etienne isn't going to play a ton this year. Again, it's a committee. Again, I get it. James Robinson's going to play. He's probably the best bet to lead the team in touchdowns. Carlos Hyde's not playing over Travis Etienne. I can't say it any plainer. He's not playing over Travis Etienne. It's not going to happen.
They're not the same. Like, they're totally different guys, too. It doesn't even...
Well, so Carlos Hyde's always been a good third down blocker, and he's not a terrible receiver, right? But he's old and slow, and right. I just think you're talking 6th round for Travis Etienne at this point. 6th round feels like a really good price to me. Given that, no. Should he be a 3rd round pick? No, of course not, because he's not. We don't know. We haven't seen him play. We suspect he's good, but we haven't seen him play. So, and we don't really know, even though I'm yelling at you, that we don't know what the role is. I just suspect this. Even if week 1 James Robinson dominates touches, there comes a point where you go, gee, we have a speed guy. We have somebody like Urban Meyer's talked about lining up at wide receiver. Stop. It's not going to happen. He's going to play running back. He's going to play a lot. Even if it's a 60-40 split in favor of Robinson, I still like Etienne. Okay, so we're taking a break here. Let's thank today's sponsor, Fantrax, a free and great place to host your league. Fantasy football is free at Fantrax. It's the most customizable fantasy platform in the world, and they really want you to try it. So here's what they're doing. They're sending one entire league to an NFL game. Everyone in the league gets a game day ticket and money to put toward an airfare and a hotel, more than enough to cover all of that stuff. So here's all you have to do. If you don't have a Fantrax account, go to fantrax.com/Harris and make an account. And then either create a new league or join an active league or bring over an existing league from another platform. That I mentioned, Fantrax is always free. If you're in a Fantrax league, your league is entered, and the more leagues you start, the more leagues you join, the better your chances. The winning league will get chosen on September 21st. Fantrax will send everyone in that league to an NFL game. Sign up for a Fantrax account at fantrax.com/Harris and join a bunch of leagues for a chance to be in the winning league.
We're getting back into the must-draft running backs, and the next guy is deeper down the list. We're talking about A.J. Dillon, but we want to call attention to him. We were so sick for years of hearing about Jamal Williams, right? It was always just like, oh, you can't get Aaron Jones. Jamal Williams is there. And now it's like, I feel like there's not a peep about A.J. Dillon, and he's better, right? Like, he's a better running back, I think.
I suspect that he is. And again, like, let's just reset what must draft really means. I'm not telling you have to get A.J. Dillon. It's some weird combination of maybe it winds up being pretty good value, and maybe I like the film in the summer. Some of these guys, it's just I like the film and I watched them in the summer. A.J. Dillon, I like the film better certainly than I've ever liked Jamal Williams' film. He's just a straight ahead power back. He's got oomph. He's maybe LeGarrette Blount and maybe a little plus, but maybe he's about LeGarrette Blount, to be honest. And if LeGarrette Blount in his prime, in his young prime, was on the Packers with Aaron Jones, he would be drafted as a top 100 player, which A.J. Dillon's not being drafted as a top 100 player. So is it a must draft? No, but it's exactly what you said. Jamal Williams, I had to fight him off all these years as the reason why Aaron Jones wasn't draftable. And now the market has suddenly decided Aaron Jones is pristine, bulletproof, and A.J. Dillon need not apply. Like, Dillon's going to play. He's not nearly as valuable, I don't think. There's no world where I think he's close to as good as Aaron Jones or as valuable. But I think he's going to play. That's the NFL now.
Yeah, and for fantasy, we're talking these players, but I just want to mention, like, we're past the age really of, like, handcuffs and stuff like that. But if you're telling me there's a player you like that is way down on this list, like, that could be a lotto ticket. Like, maybe overlooked players is a little more fair than my crass mush draft running back, but I'm sticking with it.
They're still watching. Don't ruin it. They're still watching.
Well, it segued so well to the next player because he's also overlooked. It's Phillip Lindsay. Like,
Oh, right.
We're talking about a Texan running back. The entire team's overlooked right now.
So we did a list of just like fun players on the podcast, and Lindsay, just players we like, and Lindsay made that list for me. It's a mess. It's you're talking Phillip Lindsay is getting drafted after the kickers start, right? So I'm just telling you that of the players that are there, it's a bunch of bodies and then a little body, and the big bodies there don't really work anymore. They're just not that excited. It's David Johnson. Will Mark Ingram make the team? Rex Burkhead's not a big body, but if you're going to play Rex Burkhead, just play Phillip Lindsay. He's the much better version of the same player. I just think, sure, at a 14th round stash, that's not a must draft, but as a 14th round stash, heck, Phillip Lindsay has a top 10 fantasy season or top 12 fantasy season on his resume. It was a weird year, and I'm not trying to tell you he's like amazing, but sure, is there a world where it consolidates a little bit, especially as David Johnson gets hurt, because he always does, especially as Mark Ingram retires or isn't there any longer? Like, it just strikes me that of all the worlds that can come about here, probably the one that's likeliest is that it's a mess and that David Johnson is the most valuable of the group, and he'll probably get drafted the highest, and he probably should. But if you're also going to tell me that I've got a double-digit % chance that it all kind of consolidates around the kid who is little and also very, very injury-prone. His year last year was completely destroyed by like 4 different injuries because he's so physical at such a small size. But I've seen him be really good, and he's still in his prime. He's still really fast. So call it like a hedge, a late round. I don't know. It's not exactly super deep sleeper. It's somebody that is going to get drafted, I think. But I think Phillip Lindsay can wind up on a bunch of people's teams.
Yeah, and hopefully it ends up on a bunch of our viewers' teams. Like, at the end of the draft, when you're throwing darts, like, queue them up. You don't have to draft someone that you didn't even mean to. Like, it's a nice, solid shot at someone that could be really something. If he passes the retirement home of Houston, that it's turning into
right.
running backs.
And also completely cuttable in week 2 if it just didn't work out in our favor. If we did a draft and then it turned out, nope, he played 17 snaps. It's not going to happen for him. Boom, cool. That we need guys to drop for the waiver wire. That's what we need. Another dart, right? We'll just take that one out of the board and throw another one.
But we would never cut you guys. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, and come back tomorrow for another video. Or just watch the next video we put out right now.
Thanks so much for watching. Please, please, please smash that like button. Write a comment. Tell us who else you'd like to see us review film on. And of course, best of all, please subscribe to our channel and then click that little bell above the subscribe button, and you'll be notified whenever we post a new video.